This piece of energy is going to sink down into the central plains as we head into the weekend, but it is going to cause impacts far from just that area. As you notice all these greens on the screen right now, indicating shower and thunderstorm chances to the Midwest, Ohio Valley, the East Coast, all these locations. I've got the details on the pattern ahead with custom graphics coming up.
One Nation Weather.
Thanks so much for joining me here at One Nation Weather. As always, many of the model maps I use in my videos are from WeatherBell, so if you want to check out their free trial link, it is right down there in the description. I hate to nag, but as always, I like to remind people that if you are new to the channel and you want more consistent, accurate, and easy to understand forecasts in the future, consider hitting that subscribe button down below the video. Whether you're subscribed or not, though, I will answer any comments or questions you have down below in that comments section. So if you have any location-specific questions, just any comments you want to put down there, feel free to do that. I always read and reply, assuming that they're friendly, of course. Zooming away from all the reminders here and zooming into that future radar for the upcoming pattern using that European model, the trusty old model I like to use for these kinds of overviews. It's going to show us that as we head towards the rest of our week here, going out of our Friday, July 19th, 2024 into the weekend and really even towards next week, this is going to be an area we're going to have to watch for a lot of precipitation. Louisiana, all the way up to the Carolinas, Virginia, back down to Florida. Those deep greens indicate better chances for thunderstorms there. Also here late on our Friday, we'll be watching some upper level energy. This is what I hinted at earlier in the title, the thumbnail. This is what's going to kind of keep us going and combine with that other front later on. South Dakota and Nebraska, I'm looking at you for some isolated scattered severe weather potential as well. If you're subscribed to the channel, you'll see a community post with my ONW severe scale for that on our Friday. But anyway, here we go towards our Saturday. Not much of a change. A lot of precip in the southeast, some flooding chances out of those storms as they continue. A little bit of some storm chances going on up there in the north central plains. That will continue out of Saturday in towards our Sunday, but what you're going to begin to notice as we go out of Sunday and in towards Monday and other areas as well, now we're starting to see more spots at least get in on these isolated storm chances indicated by those paler greens. You see some of those in Tennessee, Kentucky, notice in Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska still dealing with some of those isolated storm chances. These areas, yes, we have a storm chance. It's not going to be extremely elevated just yet, though we're still waiting on that front and this upper level piece of energy to kind of merge. We're going to see a little bit of that going on there towards parts of Texas and Louisiana heading out of Sunday into Monday. And from there, a lot of other areas are going to start to really feel the effects of some either much needed or not really needed precip, depending on where you are, as we head towards the early to mid part of next week. Look at this. This is as we go towards our Tuesday, July 23rd, and just like that, now we've got these pieces of energy combining, and really anywhere from the plains eastward, we've got pretty solid chances for showers and thunderstorms. This is going to be something that carries us through a lot of next week. Look at all those greens firing up, especially every afternoon. Just for a little bit of a reference, looking at Indianapolis, Indiana, we're not going to have much of a rain chance. We're going to be quite dry here in the next few days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, National Weather Service only giving you about a 0 to 10 to 30% chance going from Saturday to Sunday to Monday for some rainfall in your area. As we go towards Tuesday and Wednesday, though, a lot of Indiana beginning to see those increased rain chances for at least scattered to even numerous coverage, 50 to 60 to 70% chances of rain at that point in time. I'll break down some of that precipitation for other areas as well, give you a look at some of the ensembles, use the timestamps in the description to navigate to that. But looking at those temperature anomalies for the 19th and 20th of July here, getting towards the back half of the month, and we're definitely looking at cooler than average air for a lot of the central U.S., warmer than average air on the west coast. This is as we go Friday towards Saturday. Now we're looking at Sunday going towards Monday, July 21st, going towards July 22nd. Little pocket of some warmer than average air there in the mid-Atlantic, but otherwise we're still dealing with that cooler air in the nation's midsection and that warmer than average air for this time of the year up there in parts of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. The West has just been seeing that relentless ridging. This is going to be something that continues with time. And look at this, you're going to even notice as we go towards the 23rd, the 24th, so now Tuesday and Wednesday, with some of those thunderstorm chances increased from that upper level energy in the central U.S., we're going to keep things 5 to 10 degrees below average from Minnesota all the way down to the Carolinas, back over to Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Still warmer than average in the West. One thing I do want to point out, though, that cooler than average air in the nation's midsection heading towards next week, that is really going to help to keep our severe thunderstorm chances overall at bay. There will probably be some isolated severe weather day by day, but these kinds of temperatures are going to help keep them down. Look at this. Closing out this week, let's start with now. Going towards our Friday, July 19th, 2024 in the morning from Missouri all the way up there to Maine. Lots of temperatures that could be very near record lows. You see those boxes in the morning. Those indicate record lows. We could be near that in the mid-50s in parts of Illinois. Heading towards the afternoon here on our Friday, widespread 70s. This is going to be near record minimum highs, so it's never been this cool before in the afternoon since records have been kept In some cases, there we could try to see that even in northern Arkansas with some 80s there. Meanwhile, back on over here towards the west, there's that ridging. It's going to continue the valleys well into the triple digits in many cases, even as far north as eastern Washington state. Saturday, July 20th in the morning, not much of a difference from Friday morning, although there's a little bit less of a cold blast there in the Great Lakes and Northeast. There's definitely a broad, mild zone that you can really see here with those lighter yellows, some of the blues, mid and upper 50s from Maine to Illinois and Indiana, all the way on up there towards parts of the Dakotas, where we've at least got some low 60s there at the highest. Here we go towards Saturday afternoon. There's that bubble. This is going to be one of those spots that heading into the early part of the weekend is cooler, and then eventually we'll see some of these temperatures even sag further south. 70s, some low to mid 70s in some cases in Nebraska, Iowa, right around the Omaha areas where we could be right around 70 to 75 for the peak heating of the day. Here we go towards our Sunday morning. This is July 21st. Now starting to get into when those anomalies are sinking a little bit further south in terms of that cooler than average air, and you can see why. We should be in the 90s in a lot of this region this time of the year, and we've got 80s from Ohio down to the Carolinas, just some 90s in Texas where we could be a little bit closer to 100. We're going to start to feel that. Look at that, some really cool air there in the Rockies near Denver, Colorado. Back to the west of the Rockies, though, that's where you're still in the triple-digit heat, especially in the valleys below the mountains there. From Washington and Idaho down to California, Nevada, Arizona, just some intense heat. Even Monday morning, we could be near 100 to start the day in southeast California. That is crazy stuff. Still near 70 in a lot of the southern quarter of the U.S. every morning. With these thunderstorm chances and a lot of clouds, it's going to kind of keep the temperatures from going down too much at night. I just want to continue emphasizing, though, why we're going to have a little bit less of a severe weather chance heading towards next week. I mean, 80's not really going to cut it from Nebraska over to Ohio for any sort of severe storms to come out of this pattern, and that's good news. Temperatures remaining in the 60s and 70s in the morning for a lot of locations. 80's is going to be a pretty widespread thing if you're east of the western U.S. heading towards the early to mid part of next week. All right, let's go back into the precipitation talk here for the rest of this video and kind of break down where some of the heaviest precip's going to be based on our ensembles. Every member of these getting averaged out to show us where the best agreement is for some of the heavier precipitation. And as we close out this week, this is what I showed you a little bit briefly during that overview. Down here on our Friday, July 19th, just a day out from when I filmed this video on your Thursday evening, we've got Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas. Just in a 6-hour window, the agreement on a lot of spots picking up at least a 3/10 or more value of some rainfall. That's pretty interesting there. That means that we'll definitely have some locally higher totals in those thunderstorms because these ensembles can't really pick out local thunderstorms. Same goes up here, South Dakota, Nebraska. We'll be watching your flood threat out of some of the stronger storms that we get Friday heading into early Saturday. Saturday afternoon, very much so a similar, if not carbon copy kind of day to what we have Friday. A lot of precip in the southeast. Some of it could edge a little bit further north on up there into the mid-Atlantic, parts of Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland as well. Washington, D.C., you'll have at least some thunderstorm chance Saturday. Also the Central Plains, at least some of that chance. Again, that could be closer to Omaha, Nebraska, where temperatures will be cooler this weekend as well. Sunday, more of that heavy rain in the southeast. Let's skip over and go to Monday. This is when you really start to notice the overall setup and what that central U.S. system is doing. Let's put the X down right here, Nebraska and Kansas. There's a general area of broad low pressure here. Out ahead of it, we've got that lingering front that's somewhere from Missouri over to, say, Virginia around this time. Between the counterclockwise flow of that low pressure or whatever, little entities there, and the flow trying to get on up against that front that's going to be there. That's what these greens are. That's where we've got that higher moisture concentration and a better chance for afternoon thunderstorms towards Monday. Louisville, Kentucky, Paducah, and over there into southern Ohio as well. These are going to be some of the areas that see kind of the best chance for storms just there and south of you on Monday. But towards Tuesday, look at this. I think from central Missouri all the way up there to central New Hampshire, and that does include areas like Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York now getting in on better chances of rain. We will see those storm chances lift a little bit northward with time. Wednesday, we'll see a lot more storm chances over the same areas. And notice that we'll continually see a lot of greens down there towards the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama. In fact, circling this spot right here, this is where we've got the best chance of rain Wednesday, right? The best agreement according to these ensemble members. That's what these greens indicate. Higher storm chances and heavier rain. If you see these greens over your area, rewind if you need to, every single day, that means that you're probably looking at some flood threats developing because definitely we will be watching that, especially in the southeastern U.S. And in fact, we'll look at those exact totals in just a second that are forecasted. But let's look at the precipitation percentages day by day. Raleigh, North Carolina, according to the Weather Service, you've got about a 70% chance of rain both Saturday and Sunday, a active weekend with isolated severe weather not out of the question as well. Down towards 60% chance of rain, but still numerous showers and thunderstorms Monday and Tuesday. A little more scattered by Wednesday, at least according to the percentages right now. 50%. Daily, though, you've got at least 50-50 shot of seeing a storm in your neck of the woods. Dallas, Texas, Saturday and Sunday, pretty dry. Sunday will at least have some isolated storms around. By Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's a little more scattered to even numerous. Monday looking to be that peak day for your storm chances in the Dallas region. And then one last location, and again, always remember you can put down your location down there in the comments section and I'll get to you. Memphis, Tennessee, from Saturday to Sunday to Monday to Tuesday, we just step up the chances 20, 30, 40 to 50 to 60%. And then by Wednesday, we're a little bit back down, so Tuesday looks like your peak day for some of the thunderstorm chances in Memphis. And then, of course, looking back at that graphic I showed you earlier in the video, Indianapolis really shows you the stair-step of chances up and up and up and up. They will start to go back down after Wednesday in a place like Indianapolis, though. Here's those 48-hour precipitation totals showing you where that flood threat's going to be. So let's start out with this upcoming weekend, and again, you kind of know from what I've shown you in the overview, that pattern breakdown with the ensembles a little bit ago, where we're going to have the heaviest rain, but it's going to be the Gulf Coast into southern and central Louisiana, up through Mississippi, to Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia, where we have that best chance of flooding into the upcoming weekend. This is from Friday in the afternoon to Sunday in the afternoon, that 48-hour window. Lots of storms Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. That brings up those rain totals, and we're going to add up to 2 to 4 inches in a lot of locations with the heavier thunderstorms. Mark my words, we'll have a few spots see 6 to 8 inches out of those heavier storms at the minimum. Also, Nebraska, Iowa, parts of New Mexico and Colorado, be ready for heavier rainfall this weekend that could induce some flooding. Then we start to see, look at everything. You can see it moving southeast to northwest there from the southeastern U.S., merging with what's coming from west to east there through the plains. Now all of a sudden you got a big glob of precip, and it looks like someone splattered paint all over the place down here towards parts of Texas and Louisiana and southern Arkansas. Heading out of Sunday through our Tuesday, this is that 48-hour window here. Definitely watching places like Houston, Texas, Lake Charles, Louisiana for some of that flooding during that window, especially Monday. Heavy thunderstorms. That could even continue beyond that to the midweek time frame. But while those areas continue seeing rain and we continue seeing the flood threats add up in the southern U.S., don't want to leave out the fact that while we might not see much flooding out of this, we will add up with some rain, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, over there to where we've got more yellow paint splatter all over the blues there in parts of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, surrounding spots. That is going to be it for this update video. It was a lot of rain discussion because we're going to have a lot of it in the coming days. I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break here because there's not too much significant weather to talk about. You'll see me active in the community tab on the channel. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. I'll probably see you back here around Saturday or maybe Sunday, I would say. That is it for this one. As I mentioned, drop any comments and questions below. I'll see you in the next one.
One Nation Weather.